books, even anything.
Oh, I'm big with podcasts. I like doing that on my podcast, like sharing podcasts I like, and then turning on fans to that podcast. Yeah. I do that with Ian Carmel's podcast, All Fantasy Everything. It's a great podcast.
And that's how it should be. Like, to help everyone out. Like,
Cheers.
Well, I don't even look at it helping it out. It's just like, I thought it was cool. I think you'll like it.
Right. Like, if you enjoy this, you might enjoy this.
Yeah.
What was your favorite podcast that made you want to start doing a podcast?
Oh, by the way, keep doing that. That's fucking butt cheek hurts.
I'm telling you, lacrosse ball. Change your life.
My favorite, in all honesty, the first podcast that I ever heard that I went, I want to do that, was Ricky Gervais's. That was no one ever really listened to it. It didn't, because it was like a limited run. It wasn't weekly. That was mind-blowing how great that was. Honestly, the one that got me to want to do a podcast was Rogan.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. That podcast is so fucking good. And I used to listen to it when I was doing Travel Channel. I listened to it on the road. I put it on play, and I just listen. And I go to sleep to it. And I wake up listening to it. And I laugh so fucking hard. And I still love the podcast. At that time, though, it was like discovering something. Oh, so fun.
That's how I feel about the Comedy Store podcast. But I think that's just because Rick Ingram's on it.
She has a comedy crush on Rick Ingram.
So hard.
Oh, we all have comedy crushes.
Who's your comedy crush right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no right way to say this. I'll tell you what makes my heart swell. And I know that I'm not supposed to say this, but Hannah Gadsby and Jill Soloway just started dating. Jill Soloway is the director and writer of Transparent. And Hannah Gadsby's lesbian comic that did the Netflix special.
Yeah.
And that makes me so happy. Like, I don't know why, but I just go, yeah, like, be in love. Like, that's so fucking awesome. I mean, I just put a huge smile on my face when I heard about that. Now, granted, they're on a tour trying to figure out how to topple the patriarchy, which is me, but I just am so happy for them. Sarah's always been a huge crush. Probably my number one crush ever in comedy is Ginny Garofalo. I've always had a crush on her.
Yeah.
And I just love her. She's just so, the way she does comedy, the way she approaches things, the way that she's not even like doing jokes sometimes, she's just telling you things.
Yeah.
I love it.
Did you have, when you were growing up, did you listen to comedy specials and things like that? Or did you discover stand-up later?
I mean, I listened to like all the stuff everyone listens to, like Kinnison, Eddie Murphy, but I didn't listen. I didn't like when I first started comedy. There was a comedian, Dimitri Martin, who we were good friends, and he introduced me to everything. He's like, you don't know who Mitch Hedberg is? You don't know who Dave Attell is? You don't know who Woody Allen is? Like, I knew who Woody Allen was, but I didn't know that he did stand-up.
Right.
And so that was like, he was my introduction into like hardcore stand-up, and then. But I think that's when I started doing stand-up, when I started falling in love with it. And being like, oh my God, there's so many different types of ways to go about this.
And you're still in love with it.
Oh, hardcore.
I love that.
I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I love comedy. I love checking out. I watched this dude's special on Netflix. This Korean guy. It was in Korean. I watched the whole special. I wanted to see I want to see if I could find his timing. And start enjoying his timing.
Did you find it?
Because, like, I don't think, and this is going to sound crazy, this is going to sound really crazy, and it may even sound disrespectful, and I don't mean it to, but I really don't think you need to speak English to enjoy Sebastian Maniscalco.
No.
I think you could not know any English and laugh hysterically at him.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, I think with me, the second I come out on stage and take my shirt off and start my first joke, I think you could not speak English and giggle. So I watched this Korean guy to see if I could, the same would happen. Now, Bill Burr, I think you definitely need to know the language, you know?
Yeah. But just like Brody Stevens.
He's got a new special, right?
Yes, he does. But he'll tell you, he'll go, I should have got a laugh on cadence alone.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, you shouldn't even know what I'm saying. And on cadence alone, you should be laughing right now.
Yeah.
Brody's the best. I've seen him at times where me and Ari watched him one night at UCB. And he was on fucking fire.
I love watching him in a different room. Like, he's in the main room so much that, and it's late and he's the last one on and everything, but seeing him in a different room earlier in the lineup with like a really awake audience, it's so awesome.
Yeah. I did a backyard show with him, Hermosa Beach.
Yeah.
We did Hermosa Beach Mary's show. And he was so funny.
I've known Brody for almost as long as I've known Dimitri.
And he cracks me up because I told him that our son's name is Brody, and he's all, thank you. And I'm like, that's not, okay, I'll let you keep that. How did that happen?
Brody, first joke he ever told that made me laugh was, new movie, 10 Things I Hate About You. New bit, 10 Things I Hate About Me. Number 10, I have hair on my cock.
Oh my god.
Not on the base, halfway up the shaft.
Oh my god.
Oh, he makes me laugh so fucking hard.
That's awesome, though, that you can still laugh, because I do see, like, some of the comedians, like, at the Comedy Store a lot, that, you know, some people are like, I'm going to go in and watch blah, blah, blah set, and they're like, I'm done with it. Like, I'm so over it.
Well, yeah, but everyone's got their own process. Like,
that's true.
You know, like, a lot of people don't watch people because it gets caught up in their head.
Okay.
But that speaks more to their writing process. My writing process is very organic.
Yeah.
I know they're my thoughts.
Yeah.
And if I ever was to step on someone's premise, I'd call myself out on it and I'd dodge away from it. But I really truthfully enjoy stand-up. I love giggling.
I do too.
Do you find you gravitate toward fellow storytellers, or do you just have like a wide range of comics you listen to?
Oh, just a wide range.
Yeah.
I just listened to Mike Vecchione's new special. It's an album. God, it's fucking hilarious. Sarah Tiano was just on Comedy Central the other night.
Yes,
it's
she
fucking
was.
amazing.
Yeah.
I love storytellers. Like, I love listening to someone tell a story. But I like joke writers. I like it all.
I really respect joke writers a lot, or people who their writing is so specific.
Yeah.
It's amazing, like listening to Rogan or Marin, and they're so economical with their words sometimes.
Yeah.
That it's so amazing to listen to.
It really is. I like it all.
Well, Marin's your comedy crush.
I have a problem. It's a problem. And I love listening to you because I also tell a lot of stories, and so just being able to see people really, really get into the stories about your daughters or your life and everything. It's really fun and
people try
inspiring to watch.
Storytellers, and then some comics don't tell stories and say they're storytellers. It's always interesting. I don't know if obviously I guess I'm known for storytelling, but like I don't really even know what I do, to be honest with you. I remember hearing someone say he was a storyteller, and I was like, dude, you write fucking jokes. And then I remember when I was telling stories, someone goes, so you're just telling stories now? Like, almost like diminishing it. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just struggling to get laughs.
Yeah.
I come up with an idea, and I hope everyone finds it funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that the process with all of it, though?
Yeah.
Because,
Like
my kids will do something, and I'm like, oh, I hope that translates on stage, because that's going to be said.
Well, what happens for me is, like, something will happen, and I'll find that really funny, and in order to be able to fucking shoehorn that into my act, I have to turn it into a story. Like, Leanne went to Vietnam, and Isla one day had the girls pack their lunch, and Isla brought a bag of rice to school. That's it. Nothing else, just a bag of rice.
Well, technically, she did bring an apple also.
Okay, there we go. See, this is how a story works. Like,
bag of rice
to
and
me,
an apple.
a bag of rice is 10 times funnier than a bag of rice and an apple.
I think it's funny because rice and apple don't go together.
Yeah, I think most
It's
people
like,
think.
it's like bringing, I
Yeah.
don't know, peanut butter and, I don't know, something that doesn't go with peanut butter. That's why I'm not a joke writer.
Well, yeah. The fact that you just took the wind out of my fucking story.
Oh, shut up. You'll get it.
And so then you got to turn it into a bit. So for me, I find something I find funny, like the bag of rice. And what made me laugh was I was like, she brought a bag of rice to school like she was working on the railroads. And so then that's my joke. And then I got to figure out a story to I got to figure out the story to tell the story. So Georgia wanted me to fail all weekend.
Yes, she did.
And so you just kind of craft your story around the one thing you find funny.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Like I grew up in East Coast Canada. My nan's from this really small town, and we'd sit around, and her family had this thing called the Liar's Bench, and it was where the people would get up and tell stories and everything, and because they're all lies, they're like this little thing happened, and they turn it into something bigger, and that was kind
A
of
good story is.
Yeah.
A good story is, I wouldn't say it's a lie, it's just a story.
It's hyperbolic.
It's spinning the yarn. It's like, no one, I remember one guy was like, this guy, I befriended this stock market guy when I first moved to New York. And he goes, he called me up one night and he goes, what do you want to do tonight? And I was like, I don't know, what do you want to do? And he goes, I want to get drunk and tell lies. And I started giggling. I thought it was an interesting way to look at telling stories, is that you're telling lies, but everyone's narrative is their own narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And I would much rather someone spin a yarn a tad bit than stick to the truth and it not entertain me.
I completely agree.
Because it's based in truth. You're just finding the other things that are funny about it.
Right, just like our 12-year-old, he's 7th grade too. He texted me, and all the text said is, Mom, I'm so embarrassed. And I was like, oh, whatever happens after this is going to be the greatest thing ever. It's like mom joy. I was like, oh. And he doesn't tell me until he gets home from school. And he was in the middle of class and stood up to take his sweater off and took his shirt off too.
Oh, God.
So he's standing in the middle of the class and he's like, I looked down and I was half naked and I couldn't figure out what happened.
Oh, my gosh.
Aww.
And I was laughing so hard, and he's like, you're going to end up somehow telling that on stage, aren't you? And I'm like, I am, but it'll be better. And he's
And
like,
I love you.
everything that happens until they're 18 is creatively mine.
Yeah, right?
I'm
My
like, I
favorite
own
thing
that.
in the world is when Leanne goes, you're never going to believe what happened to your daughter. And I'm always like, all right,
It's
hold
like,
on.
let me get my pen. I'm going to get my pen right
Yeah.
this
Like you do the happy dance, like, oh,
I know.
something's gonna happen. Oh my gosh, my boys, they write for me. I'm like, what are we doing now? All right, let's flip you over.
can't really make some of this up.
No.
God, it was-
In Bert's latest special in Secret Time, he talks about Isla wiping the deodorant and putting it. She really.
I love that.
I was at home and
much.
she walked in the kitchen, took the deodorant out of the refrigerator, wiped it in her nose, and put it back in. And I called him immediately and went, "You will not believe what I just witnessed in this house. I cannot believe that this child did this, and why did she do it?" And then it turned into this big bit. That's such a great bit.
It is. And I love the turnaround at the end.
Me too.
Sorry, anybody who's not seen the special, you need to go watch it, where it's just like, because time travel smells like
So
shit.
It was so brilliant, but it really came from me observing, watching Isla do that, and then calling him and going, "You will not believe what your moron daughter just did. I don't even know why this is here. I don't know why it's in the refrigerator. I don't know what she's doing."
That's what I love, is like, you take all these bits and you kind of plant them and lead them out to pasture and like let them like kind of sit there and grow a little bit.
Yeah.
And then one day you can fucking, I call it like, in stories I call them saplings. Like you'll plant saplings in a story to harvest at the end, and that's usually your tag, your punch at the end. But with all these stories, you have all these little saplings planted around in a field. And then one day, I tried to shoehorn that time travel bit into my last special, and it just never worked. And then one day, I was in Calgary, and it all fucking worked. I had a bit that I literally have been working on for 15 years, worked this weekend.
Really?
Oh.
What bit is it?
It's the traffic school.
Oh, that has been 15 years, legit.
Yeah. There was the joke, the best part of it. So, I went to traffic school one time, this is like 15 years ago, and our teacher had a baby arm. Like, he came in, he had a baby arm, and he goes, "Who notices anything different about me?" And like an idiot, I put my hand up, and I realized as soon as it went up, I didn't need to have the answer. Like, no one else put their hand up. And he goes, "You, what is it?" Now I'm like, I don't know if I can call it a baby arm. I'm sure that's not what he calls it. Like, I think that's disrespectful. I can't raise my hand and then insult the guy. And the funny part of this joke, the funniest part was this black kid behind me leaned up behind me and goes, "It's his arm." Like, because I was waiting so long. So but it ended there, right? And now it just sounds like I'm making fun of someone with a disability, and I didn't. That was never my intention.
Right.
I don't know how it worked this weekend. Maybe it was because I was sober. Who fucking knows?
Oh, that's hilarious.
But I did that. I don't know how I got into the bit, but I started telling the bit, and then this girl in the front row says, "What did you say?" And then the truth is, I don't remember what the fuck I said. In real life, all I know is I raised my hand. He said, "What is it?" And I don't know what I said. But she said, "What did you say?" And in the moment, I was forced to think about it, and I said, "One of your arms is humongous." And then it